Perceptions matter in politics, and the Congress is hoping that by making these remarks against the BJP, they can sway public opinion against the party. And it is precisely for this reason that after painting the BJP as a villain, it would be expected that the Congress would ensure that it doesn't put a foot out of place in observing all traditions and customs that signal that it is mourning Dr. Singh's loss with solemnity. But the Congress hasn't done that. Its most recognizable face, it is being reported, has decided to leave for Vietnam to ring in the new year amidst festivities. That too smack in the middle of the 7-day national mourning period. How's that for hypocrisy? The BJP is now asking the Congress. The Congress has reacted defensively. BJP has said that Rahul is taking the trip for New Year celebrations amid the mourning of one of India's national icons. The Congress is countering and saying that targeting Rahul's private trip is wrong. You shouldn't get into a personal space. The BJP says Rahul's foreign travel proves that Congress was merely politicizing Dr. Singh's death by making all sorts of unfounded allegations about the BJP not adhering to customs and practices, and the BJP trying to deliberately undermine the legacy of Dr. Singh. The BJP's attack has stung the Congress, and the Congress has replied by suggesting that the BJP is targeting Rahul to divert from the disrespect that the BJP showed to Dr. Manmohan Singh. Others, like Rahul Gandhi's loyalist and fellow MP Manickam Tagore, is choosing to brazen it out. And he said, and I quote, "When will the Sanghis stop this take diversion politics? The way Modi denied Dr. Sahib a place for cremation on the Yamuna banks, and how his ministers cornered Dr. Sahib's family is shameful. If Mr. Gandhi travels privately, why does it bother you? Get well in the new year." That is Manickam Tagore's unsolicited advice to the BJP. The trouble is that Rahul Gandhi's sudden decision to up sticks and to party in the new year is perception-wise a total abnegation of his own criticisms of the BJP. In hindsight, it is Rahul Gandhi who sounds like a hypocrite for attacking the BJP, and for defending him, the Congress sounds even more hypocritical. What did Rahul say, viewers? Over the last few days, he's been saying that the great son of India and the first Prime Minister of the Sikh community, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, has been totally insulted by the present government by performing his last rites today at the Nigambodh Ghat. Dr. Manmohan Singh deserves our highest respect and a memorial. The government should have shown respect to this great son of the country and his proud community, unquote. His sister, who is newly a member of parliament, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, has come in and said, "This morning I felt this when I saw Dr. Manmohan Singh ji's family members struggling for a place at the funeral site, trying to find a place in the crowd, and the general public getting troubled due to lack of space and paying tribute from the road outside," unquote. Pawan Khera, Congress spokesperson, who is sometimes seen as the voice really of the Gandhis, has come out and said, and I quote, "The Prime Minister and ministers did not stand up when the national flag was handed to the widow of the late Prime Minister or during the gun salute. The family was given inadequate space around the pyre due to soldiers occupying the site. The public was kept out, left watching from the outside of the venue," unquote. In any case, viewers, any attempt by the Congress to position itself as a party that truly feels gutted by the loss of the former Prime Minister would appear to be a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't say insincerity, but certainly a stretch. This is what Sharmishta Mukherjee had to say, and she was, of course, Pranab Mukherjee's daughter, and has come out and said that the Congress ignores its leaders but BJP honors them. "No condolence for my father," she's referring to Pranab Mukherjee, "but other presidents were honored. They insulted Narasimha Rao by denying his body an entry into the All India Congress Committee office. The Congress is creating a fuss over Dr. Singh's memorial despite the government having approved it. And Rahul Gandhi publicly trashed government ordinance, faced no action. She's referring to that incident, viewers, that infamous one where Rahul Gandhi challenged the authority of the then Prime Minister Dr Manmohan Singh to the point where Dr Manmohan Singh wanted to actually resign and was told not to, was convinced not to by Montek Singh Ahluwalia, his very close aide. And there's more. When Congress has disrespected its own viewers, there have been, as I told you, there was no condolence meeting organized by the Congress for Pranab Mukherjee. Sonia Gandhi didn't let another Prime Minister, Narasimha Rao's body, enter the AICC gates. So that's very commonly been spoken about, viewers, also by the family of PV Narasimha Rao. Nehru barred Congress leaders from Sardar Patel's funeral. There are some instances like this which are very well documented. Viewers, was this entire Congress campaign suggesting that the BJP was not showing the requisite amount of shok, solemnity, or at one level, a degree of condolences for Dr Manmohan Singh, just an elaborate sham? Let's go straight across to our guest, viewers. Let's put this question out there. Let me first begin with Tehseen Poonawalla, who's representing the Congress point of view, is close to the Gandhis, related to them. Tehseen Poonawalla, it's a question that is obviously being asked because the Congress took such a high moral ground here. The Congress painted itself as the party that was paying obeisance to the departing of a great leader. But when it has come to it, what do we see? We see Rahul Gandhi not observing the full 7-day rituals, which are very crucial. The BJP says neither did he go to receive the ashes when others went, other politicians also went, especially from the Sikh community who weren't related to Dr Manmohan Singh in any which way. And also, now he's taken off for a holiday smack in the middle of this mourning period. How do you respond to this charge?
Good evening, Rahul. Jai Samvidhan. Thank you so much for having me on the show. At the onset, before I come to this topic, let me just make one factual correction with a lot of humility. The only discussion in Sardar Patel's funeral was with regard to the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, which was academic in nature. And as you will appreciate, that as per protocol, President shouldn't go. And therefore, Rajendra Prasad ji did attend, and the advice of the Prime Minister was attend as a colleague, not as a president. This was a new India being formed where you have academic discussions on protocol. Kindly do not, I would request you, and I have a lot of respect for you. Nehru and Patel were the best of friends. I can quote all of that. Please, let's not get into this and tarnish the people who are not here, their image. Now, let me come to this specific image, this specific issue. How does the BJP know where the honorable leader of opposition is going? By putting out his personal details, they are putting his life in jeopardy. The honorable leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi ji, enjoys the exact same security cover as the honorable Home Minister of India, Amit Shah ji, and the honorable Defence Minister of India, Rajnath Singh ji. You have now put his thing out on what you are alleging to be a personal travel. You and I don't know. We can't confirm it. How does the BJP therefore know? Are they snooping on him? Are they using the agencies? Or do they have moles in his security agency that are telling them where the honorable leader of opposition is going? This is a threat to his life, considering both his father and his grandmother have been martyred for this country. This is an absolute threat to his life. Now, I understand the argument will be so many times he may have gone abroad to his security. That is his personal decision. BJP can't be leaking personal information. Number two, I concede we are in mourning. Are all BJP union ministers currently sitting in Delhi? 2 union ministers flew with me. 2. Are they all sitting in Delhi in mourning? They were personal flights. And wherever Shri Rahul Gandhi ji goes on a personal or a professional visit, doesn't take away from the fact that the arrangements at the funeral of the Honorable ex-Prime Minister of Dr. Manmohan Singh ji were not up to the mark. And when the flag is handed over to the widow or the family of the ex-Prime Minister, every dignitary should stand up. The King of Bhutan did stand up. It doesn't take away. Those facts are not related. I cannot believe the BJP can just put out somebody's personal information, allegedly out. You can't confirm it, Rahul, and you have your sources everywhere. And a national issue is being made about this. It's so unfair to Rahul ji. And it puts his life in
Mr. Poonawalla, that's fine. Those are legitimate questions that you can put to Pradeep Bhandari. But fundamentally, you yourself concede that this is a 7-day national mourning period that was announced on the day of the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. The Congress has made this issue of, the customs, the protocols, the traditions. They have made these an issue, and the violation of these protocols. So shouldn't it have followed through and said, look, we will forget about the BJP MPs who travelled with you, if they so deem that they don't want to pay respect, etc. It's for them to answer. The fact is, today questions are being asked of Rahul Gandhi, who threw the first stone. Now, there's this old saying in politics that if you live in a glass house, don't throw a stone. It's the same thing that you once said about Mr. Kejriwal. If you remember, Tehseen, you were on this show about a week or two ago, and you said that, look, people who try to position themselves as the end-all and the be-all of morality, etc., then cannot afford to slip on that plank. Now, the point is that Rahul Gandhi has said what he said. He has criticized the BJP for not honouring the mourning period or the customs or the traditions. And he himself now is in flagrant violation. And therefore, the BJP is asking that was this shok a basic sham?
Let's assume for a second what you're saying is true. It's not true, but let's assume it's true. So the BJP will leak out his personal information and put his life under threat.
But you're making
look. I'm not.
We are
his
looking at the thin edge of the wedge here. Let's look at the wedge.
His line is under threat.
The wedge is...
Now, the point is, how do they know? How does BJP... You and I don't know where Rahul
is. If it was a... Hang on, let me put this into context. If it was a professional visit, there would have been a permission taken from the MEA. Right? That's the protocol. Right. That might have been, if it was a very high-level meeting, it would have also been known to the PMO. There would have been internal consultations, permission would have been given. From the little we know through our sources, this is certainly not an official visit. Now, that opens the door.
Could it be he has a health issue? Could it be he's going...
all of those things are right, of course. But should Manickam Tagore... So therefore, all the more reason, should Manickam Tagore have responded by saying the following lines? Does it bother you all where he goes? It does, because he made it an issue. Now let me bring in Pradeep Bhandari. Let's bring in Pradeep Bhandari to get a counter response. He's been waiting patiently. Mr. Bhandari, how do you respond to Tehseen Poonawalla? Right after that, Ishkaran Bhandari and Dr. Raman. Yes.
Well, I respect my friend Tehseen's learned point of view, but however, I completely question the intent of Rahul Gandhi. Rahul, remember, it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mrs. Sonia Gandhi who historically have disrespected Dr. Manmohan Singh. When he was the Prime Minister, as the charge of the NAC, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi disrespected him. And if you recall and remember, everybody has said that it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi who publicly went against the ordinance which was passed by Mr. Manmohan Singh's cabinet, and that was the only time when Mr. Manmohan Singh felt angry and wanted to resign. Now, I understand that there is a 7-day national mourning. The Prime Minister is here. Every top leader is here. We are doing our best because we respect Dr. Manmohan Singh. However, Rahul Gandhi, who questioned us, has gone on a 7-day break on a sojourn. My question is, what could have, had he delayed his personal visit by 7 days, what could have happened? Nothing would have happened. He prioritized his personal visit on a vacation on a New Year party over Dr. Manmohan Singh's 7-day mourning. This is the intent of Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhi family. This is exactly what they do with every former Prime Minister, even a Congress Prime Minister. Remember what they did with PV Narasimha Rao. His body was not allowed in the Congress daftar. He had to take his last rites and it was performed in Hyderabad. And it took 10 years for us to form a memorial. Till now, the Congress party has not formed a trust. My charge is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is only focused on consolidating certain votes in Punjab. He is not focused on honouring the legacy of Dr. Manmohan Singh. And not once the family of Dr. Manmohan Singh has criticized any of the arrangements. It is Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and their Gandhi family which is trying to politicize this. If the charge and the intent of what Mr. Rahul Gandhi was saying was sincere, at least the family would have echoed it. But the family is not echoing it. And Rahul, it's all about priorities. Rahul Gandhi, the nation has chosen his personal vacation on 31st December, New Year Eve, over Dr. Manmohan Singh's 7-day mourning. This is why we say that whatever Mr. Gandhi does lacks intent, whether it is with PV Narasimha Rao, whether it is Mr. Gujral, whether it is with Pranab Mukherjee, and now it is with Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Well, Dr. Raman, and let me bring in Ishkan Bhandari. Look, I mean, Dr. Raman, no one wants to question Rahul Gandhi's personal visits. No one denies that he deserves.
That's what we are doing.
He
Why
deserves.
do we even?
No,
why
one
do
second.
we even pretend
One
otherwise?
second,
That's
Mr.
what we are
Raman.
doing.
Let me finish. No, why are you jumping down my throat? Have I even?
Rahul, he did not even walk
One
for
second.
4 kilometers for
One
Dr.
second.
Manmohan Singh during the last rides. A man who walked 4,000 kilometers for
Okay,
votes.
okay.
That is his real intent. I
One
question
second,
his
one
intent.
second, one second, one second. Let me just bring in Dr. Raman and Ishkan Bhandari. Look, we wouldn't be having this conversation if Rahul Gandhi had not made it an issue, Dr. Raman. No one is questioning the fact that Rahul Gandhi could have gone on a break on the 6th of January, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th of January. But it does appear in poor taste. I remember, and I'll just quote out of my own family, there was a death in the family some years ago. And I remember a very close relative decided that very night to leave for a particular destination where there was, even before, in fact, you know, the ashes could be recovered, decided to go off for a engagement, marriage and engagement. And you know that even festivities like Diwali, for instance, Dr. Raman, we put off to honor the dead, the departed. I mean, here Rahul Gandhi says, you know, Dr. Manmohan Singh was like a family member to me. I was very much inspired by him. He was an emotional support for me, a shoulder to lean on. And you can't even control your partying instinct for 5 days, 3 days. Actually, what is it today? Yeah, it would have been just 48 hours. He could have gone on the 2nd. I mean, it's in poor taste. I mean, I'll leave it to you, sir, to answer this.
Yeah. Now, first of all, can you tell me why, from where you got the information that he has gone to party? I mean, I'm absolutely amazed that you can put out stuff on national television without having an iota.
No, Suman, has he gone for meditation on 31st of December? Come on.
Mr. Bhandari, perhaps you are not aware. But what, as Tehseen said, supposing he has gone for some medical
I'm
issue,
not aware about
we
what happens
don't
in Bangkok,
we
Thailand
don't
and Vietnam.
know.
I'm absolutely not
We
aware.
don't.
And I don't want to be aware also.
No, please, first of all, this is like throwing mud. You have no idea what he has gone for. Yet he must have gone to party. He must have gone to celebrate New Year. I mean, this is disgusting. I mean, I have no other words for it.
Okay.
You don't, first of all, this is nudge, wink,
Nudge, wink, wink.
kind of gossip.
One second. Let's not speak over him. Mr. Bhandari, let him speak.
How does he know he has gone for a party? How does he know?
Okay, how do you know? Ishkaran Bhandari, this is disgusting.
Information from the government.
This is disgusting. Nudge, wink, kind of slander campaign is being run against Rahul Gandhi, says Dr. Raman. How do you respond to Dr. Raman?
No, first ask him to explain from where he got this
entire debate.
Okay, coming down.
Raman, it's a question to me. Please let me speak now. It's a question to me. Rahul, since it's a debate started by Congress on respect for Dr. Manmohan Singh, let me tell you a personal experience or true story. This was National Herald bail hearing, where Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mrs. Sonia Gandhi had to get bail from the court. So what happens in court, because they had SPG protection, only very few people can go in. Lot of Congress leaders came in. There are very few seats in the court, 10, 15 seats in Patiala House. It's a district court. So I was sitting on the seat, and because the entire team came, other congressmen were already sitting. You would assume that when a former prime minister, a very senior citizen comes in, lot of Congress people will get up and give a seat to themselves, to him. Not from the obviously the defense side, not a person bothered about what the defense or the accused are doing. I got up and gave my seat. We councils are not used to doing it because it was an exception of exceptions. It was Dr. Manmohan Singh. For 2-3 seconds, no congressman got up and gave a former prime minister a seat to sit in the court. That was the respect I saw from my own eyes, and I think I tweeted about it at that time also. So when we are talking about respect for politics, you can make noises on social media, but what you do in your personal interaction, there are various stories from ordinance to how the seatings was done, how what NSC was done, but what happened in that court showed to me what level of respect was flowing. Forget the Prime Minister, to a super senior citizen. That time 10 years ago, also he was quite old. When we are coming now to this debate of where Rahul Gandhi is going or not going, I am not bothered. He can go anywhere in the world, but he is the leader of opposition. It is a post which carries certain responsibilities. Of course, the government will keep an eye on where you are going. You sit on very important committees. You sit on committees which appoint the CBI chief. You sit on chief election commissioners, election commissioners. So there is a statutory, there is a constitutional impulse on it where, please don't interrupt. And he is fully entitled to go on any visit. But I am not sure, maybe somebody with knowledge of protocol will say whether an LOP has to inform even for private visits or he doesn't have to. To my mind, an LOP should inform even about private visits when he is going abroad, though what the exact protocol is, I do not know. Lastly, we have reduced this debate to respect to a former Prime Minister, and there are examples of PV Narasimha Rao to how after 2014 was over, or even before 2014, how contemporary records show what level of respect was being given. So I am not surprised that today for politics you are making all this noise, but the respect has to consistently be shown.
Consistently is the word.
In this case, I think Congress has a lot to answer.
Ishkaran Bhandari is using a word consistently. Being a lawyer, he knows the impact of that word. He knows that it's an important caveat that he has placed. And Tehseen Poonawalla, please don't pretend that the Congress party showed a lot of respect when Dr Manmohan Singh was in fact Prime Minister to Dr Manmohan Singh, the person. Let's not forget the manner in which his authority was constantly undermined. There are books that have been written, never challenged. In fact, Montek Singh Ahluwalia wrote a book. Someone who was really close, cheek by jowl, somebody who met actually Dr Manmohan Singh a few days before he passed away. He told me on this show last week that he had met him just a few days before he passed. And there was a lot of constant conversation. He writes in his book how Dr Manmohan Singh wanted to quit because he just could not suffer the humiliation. He was angry. Mr Poonawalla, why this whole big sham about, we respect Dr Manmohan Singh, all this sort of latter-day posturing?
By that same logic and my extended logic, the BJP that gave a funeral, the union government and the BJP, in parliament, bought in cash to stall the nuclear deal. And Rahul and Ishkaran knows, and Dr. Suman knows how important the nuclear deal was. So they got in cash in parliament. Was that not an insult of Dr. Manmohan Singh?
Do you know the exact facts? No, hang on. Do we know the exact facts of that? Tehseen Poonawalla, unfortunately, the person who was supposed to broadcast, who was supposed to broadcast that particular sting operation, you know who that person is? I don't even want to go down that route, please. No, I don't want to. Look, don't bring in an argument that makes you look weaker tonight. Please, don't bring in an argument that makes you look weaker. The point is, viewers.
The BJP's put Rahul Ji's life in threat. That's the only argument.
Okay. The BJP. See, viewers, look at how the goalpost has changed. It's gone away from customs. It's gone away from respect. It's gone away from tradition. It's gone away from how family members should behave. It's gone away from dignifying somebody in death to, his life is in danger. Who asked him to go? If he had been in Delhi, he would have been in the net of the NSG or whatever it is, and there was no threat to his life. But if you trapeze off, supposedly to party, that's what the BJP is saying. I'm only quoting them. And I also want to say, Tehseen, to you that you began by sort of trying to correct me. I was only repeating what the BJP has been saying about Mr. Patel and Nehru. So, and I made it very clear in my introduction that is what has been said by them, and it is for you to read. It's in the public domain. Now, whether you believe it or not, viewers, that's up to you. But Pradeep Bhandari, respond to Tehseen Poonawalla on this charge that the only issue right now, the only issue is not about the consistency of the respect shown to Dr. Manmohan Singh, but it's about the threat to the life of Rahul Gandhi.
It is unfortunate that my learned friend Tehseen has spoken more about Rahul Gandhi than Dr Manmohan Singh when the topic here is about respecting Dr Manmohan Singh. This tells you how much they respect Dr Manmohan Singh. Let me quote an instance from a book by Mr Natwar Singh, who was a minister in the UPA. Mr Natwar Singh said that the Manmohan Singh, I quote him, that the entire files during Manmohan Singh's cabinet were discreetly monitored, the functioning of the ministries were monitored, and all of it was sent secretly to Sonia Gandhi through Pulok Chatterjee, and about this even the prime minister was not aware about, and these views were echoed by Sanjay Baru. This is how much they respected Dr Manmohan Singh when he was the prime minister. I am asking a very simple question, Rahul, that it is about prioritization. I will give you a personal instance. One of our relatives had passed away 2 months back. You know, for 1.5 months, none of us in the family member even went to any celebration. There was a mourning in us because the family member was very close. It is our sanskar. It is a Bharatiya sanskar to respect that. Now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi might have Italian sanskar, so he will not understand it. That is his charge. My charge is, what does a person go on the 31st December for? Is he going for yoga meditation? Is he going for some extremely important official function? Even all of that was not there. Why did he prioritize his 31st December special private visit to
you see, everything would have been okay.
Away from
Tehseen
India.
Poonawalla, everything would have been okay.
Thing.
Everything would have been okay had, Manickam Tagore not come out with this. And viewers, just listen to this,
Just
okay?
one point. Just make me one
I know. I'll come to you. You can respond to this.
Sure.
This is what Manickam Tagore says. When will Sanghis stop this take diversion politics? The way Modi denied Dr. Sahib a place for cremation on the Yamuna banks and how his ministers cornered Dr. Sahib's family, shameful. If Mr. Gandhi travelled privately, why does it bother you? Get well in the new year. Yeah. This is the dismissive tone with which viewers, Manickam Tagore has responded. And these are the people, viewers, when Dr. Manmohan Singh passed away, the Congress party, I had tweeted, viewers, was going to make a big show of how closely and with high regard it held Dr. Manmohan Singh. And I tweeted by saying that all the public needs to know really is how they actually undermined him when he was Prime Minister, when it mattered the most, viewers. And for that, a large number of Congress people were saying, don't politicize, don't politicize. And within hours, viewers, they were nitpicking and politicizing this entire funeral. So instead of actually sitting back and contemplating the ideas of Dr. Manmohan Singh, we were constantly having to contemplate whether the BJP was doing the right thing by him in his death or not. Viewers, this is how petty politics has become in this country. And Tehseen Poonawalla, I'm sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say we are the paragons of giving people respect and then toodle off to Vietnam. I don't know what he's gone there for. I completely concede. But I'm sorry, it does look very, very bad. It does. Yeah, please.
Again,
it looks very
what
bad.
if he's gone?
Poor taste.
That's fine. That's your perception, and looking is a perception, Rahul, and I concede to your perception. What if he's gone for health? Nobody out here can say for a fact where he's gone or how he's gone, except for the BJP, which is leaked information. No, I'm not. I want to make another point. I just allow me to make a point.
Yeah.
Today, my learned friend and my brother Pradeep is quoting from Mr. Natwar Singh Ji's book. I respect that. Natwar Singh Ji is the same gentleman
now trash
who was in
him
the
also.
food oil scam, and Arun, that's true, and Arun Jaitley Ji supported the government because this was a massive issue with US.
Yes.
Now today, the BJP is hiding behind that.
No, he's not hiding behind that. That doesn't mean that he lied about what he knew. That doesn't mean. He might have been corrupt. You can call him corrupt. You can call him. No, 1 second. You can call him whatever you want to call him tonight. But you can label him. You can try to discredit him. Sharmishta Mukherjee, Sanjay Baru, several others, Montek Singh Ahluwalia, are they all bankrupts, sir? Are they all lying?
I request you, please allow me. I'll come to
please
Sanjay
go
Baru.
ahead, sir.
Please allow me. You're interrupting me.
Yeah.
Could it be? Can we keep our mind open to the possibility that Natwar Singh bore a grudge because Manmohan Singh kicked him out?
Okay, he's a liar. He had a grudge.
Sir,
Montek
please.
Singh,
Sir, you're not allowing me
Montek
one
Singh
sentence.
Ahluwalia.
The viewers won't like it. I'm coming. Sir, allow me a sentence.
Yeah.
Just allow me a sentence.
Take two.
You quoted Sanjay Baru. I'm quoting Manmohan Singh ji's daughter, that this guy has completely let our family down, and Manmohan Singh ji, he's let him down. He put such fiction in the book, and I have told Sanjay Baru on his face what I think of him, and he's had to apologize.
Okay.
In another roundtable of a channel you were editor-in-chief of.
Okay, so let
Please,
me
Sanjay Baru
viewers,
is a
let me-
paragon of virtue. Sanjay Baru.
let me viewers quote. Let me viewers see viewers. I haven't tweeted in 3 days. Deliberately, I wanted to exercise social media silence because it is a sensitive issue. So let me just quickly put it out there for all of you viewers. What exactly Dr. Manmohan Singh had to endure, and this is something, viewers, that I haven't written. This is something Montek Singh Ahluwalia has said. And he wrote in his book that the Congress saw Rahul as the natural leader of the party and wanted him to take a larger role in this situation. As soon as Rahul expressed his opposition to the ordinance, senior Congress politicians who had earlier supported the proposed ordinance in the cabinet and even defended it publicly promptly changed their position. Ahluwalia says he told Singh, who was then on a visit to the US, that he did not think a resignation on this issue was appropriate. Should I quit? Was a question that was asked by Dr. Manmohan Singh of Montek Singh Ahluwalia when Rahul Gandhi did what he did with the ordinance. Viewers, you can read these articles, you can read the book. Yes. Please go ahead, read Montek Singh Ahluwalia's book. Why would he be lying? And this book came out, viewers, some years ago. No one has ever come out and said that there was lies here. So, you know, today Tehseen Poonawalla can trash talk everybody, that's fine. But Montek Singh Ahluwalia, you can't trash talk him. Anyhow, viewers, let's move on. Let's move on because, look, we can debate over whether this is a substantive issue or not, or whether this was just piffling. But certainly, viewers, let's talk about a really substantive issue tonight, the Indian economy. The Indian economy was suddenly knocked off its high perch in Q3 of 2024. As the year ends and India looks expectantly at 2025, the Prime Minister called for a meeting of economic advisors and planners in the government. The Prime Minister asked his team to get India's GDP growth back above the 7% mark. The budget survey later in the month will give us an idea if this is possible. Initial feedback given to the Prime Minister suggests that Q3 fall was perhaps an out-of-character blip. Is this really so? And what needs to be done to get back to 7% plus GDP growth and even beyond, viewers? There are some statistics that I just want to very quickly go over, and they'll come up on your screens. As of today, viewers, we are in Q4 of this particular year and a shock GDP of 5.48%. The source is MOSPI or MOSPI data, viewers. Then you have broad indications of other patterns, viewers. And these patterns are very, very interesting because if you look at the top line of the economy, you come across 104% rise in the last 10 years of forex reserves, GST collection again at a high. Sometimes you could say that, look, these collections weren't expected to be where they are, but today, viewers, they are at a very, very satisfying number. Unemployment rate, again, viewers, if you go by the periodic labor force survey by MOSPI, it's about 3.24%. We can argue about those numbers. Some people say that it's higher. But fundamentally, viewers, the All India consumption trend data is also out. And there seems to be a narrowing in consumption between rural and urban India. There is stress. I'm not saying there isn't stress. There's more money being spent on food, which could also signal sort of higher rates of inflation that people are feeling, and therefore food inflation being particularly on the higher side. So let's open this up, viewers, for an informed conversation. We are lucky to have with us Rajiv Kumar, economist and former VC of the Niti Aayog, no less, and Dr. K.V. Subramanian, Executive Director, IMF, and former CA of the Government of India. Two very distinguished individuals. I thank you both for appearing together. It's not very often that you get two big names like this sharing television space. So I'm doubly honored, and our viewers would surely delight in this interaction. Rajiv Kumarji, my first question to you, sir. How do you perceive this slight blip that we saw, 5.48%, is this something that is going to sort of occupy the mind space going ahead? Are we going to get back to 7% plus or maybe even more? What is your assessment, sir?
Hi, Rahul. Great to be on this program, as
Thank you.
always, with you. Hi, Subbu. How are you? Doing well there. Rahul, on your question, I think 5.4% is a blip. It's not something that will continue. The Indian economy is most likely going to be bounce back to above 6% in the second half of this fiscal year. That's and probably go about 6% or so. But I'm a worried man. Most parts is that it will not go up to 7, as you said, as easily. And 6% is good, but not good enough in my view. And therefore, but at the same time, one must tell oneself that in a world which is where the economy is getting more fragmented, where their protectionist tendencies are on the rise, where world trade growth is getting to be slower than the GDP growth, it's not going to be easy for any economy to do 6% plus. But, and this is a big but, that for ourselves, for our aspirations, for our objectives, we need to go to that 7%, and that's something that is an imperative for India to realize its own objectives and its own aspirations, as it were. But 5.4% coming back is not a trend figure, and it's something that will soon be forgotten when the Q3 and Q4 numbers come out in due course.
But you do say that getting back to 7% looks very, very tough. Now, why is that, Mr. Kumar? Why is that? Because, Dr. Subramanian, and he's written this brilliant book, India at 100, where he's projecting some big things. But those are all predicated on larger growth rates, which, according to you, may not be a reality for the next few years. Then what happens?
Yeah, I think, Rahul, my major worry is the performance of the private investment. Let's remember that in India, the main driver of growth has always been private sector investment and private sector growth. Public sector expenditure, public capex, which has risen very smartly to 1 trillion rupees, etc., can substitute for a while. But the real driver of growth has to be private investment, and private investment has remained shy. And there are now recent reports. Yesterday, there were articles and a lot of social media saying that a lot of HNIs are leaving India, to be registered in Dubai and Singapore, etc. That's also a cause of worry. Why am I raising that? Is that I think the ecosystem to promote private investment, the ecosystem where the government appears to be in the service of the private investor, where the government is promoting and encouraging private investment and not acting as its as a sort of block, as it were, is not yet in place in my view. In short, otherwise, the ease of doing business in India, at the ground level, where in the states or in various places around the country, is not as it can be or as it should be, especially for the small and medium enterprises. Which is why these small and medium enterprises remain small. They are unable to take part in the global supply chains and production networks. And that weakness of the private investor, finding that he is constantly confronted with the number of if you like, the short word is blockages, as it were, by the government system, makes it shy of investing. The second part, of course, is that the private investment will come when capacity utilizations improve markedly. And that will happen when consumption demand goes up. And in the last few quarters, we have seen consumption demand being weak. And as a result of that, the private investor is not enthused for spending. And that also shows up in the credit figures from the banks, that the personal credit numbers are rising, while the credit to industry has not been doing as well as it can be. So those are my major concern is what is happening to the private investor and private investment and private sector growth.
Okay, and of course, many people are also sort of saying that credit offtake for industry has been low simply because the interest rates are high. There's that little sideshow that is also taking place. But let me bring in Dr. Subramanian. Doctor, look, that those numbers that you projected into the future are contingent upon vigorous growth. Let's be honest about that. I've gone through most of your book, and I think Rajiv ji is sort of trying to tell us that, look, the ecosystem to generate this, to draw out this private investment is not there. Now, would you agree with this thesis? And if so, then what needs to be done in specific terms?
Very good evening, Rahul. Very good evening, Rajiv ji, and viewers as well. Rahul, I think we must acknowledge that like the Indian cricket team needs reforms, the Indian economy needs reforms as well. India needs to grow at 8%. That is the potential that the Indian economy has. And for that, reforms are really critical. Rajiv ji very rightly brought in the ease of doing business. I think this is an aspect that particularly impacts the smaller firms. And, I think there is a lot of inputs that keep coming to me. Many people keep sending their inputs, and smaller firms are particularly hurting because of some of the difficulties, created by GST and overall tax. I think the emphasis on tax, and the difficulties it creates for ease of doing business is something that must be acknowledged, both on the GST side and on income tax. And I think at the same time, we must also focus on reforms, especially at the state level. And this is an aspect that, in my book tour, Rahul, I have been emphasizing that India is a federal polity, and therefore many subjects are under the jurisdiction of states. Yet whether it is the media, whether it is the industry associations like CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM, none of us really put the spotlight on state reforms. Rahul, when was the last time you remember a Maharashtra budget or a Gujarat budget or an Andhra Pradesh budget or Tamil Nadu budget being actually examined with the same attention that the federal budget actually the union government's budget is focused on? I was part of 4 budgets, and we all used to go and explain the logic behind that to the media and to the industry associations, yet there is absolutely no focus. I'll just take one example to highlight. We talk about manufacturing. When it comes to manufacturing, a manufacturing firm needs 6 inputs. Those are land, labor, capital, power, logistics, and ease of doing business. Of this, except for capital, 5 other inputs are states' jurisdictions. And yet, are we asking the question of state chief ministers, state finance ministers, what are they doing for land, to ease purchase of land? What are they doing on labor? What are they doing on power? What are they doing to improve logistics? What are they doing on ease of doing business? A lot of ease of doing business is at the state level. What are we doing to actually reform the bureaucracy? I think this is something that is really critical as well. These are questions that we must be asking. And I say once again, like the Indian team needs reforms, the Indian economy needs reforms as well.
Okay, this is very interesting because viewers, when he's talking about the states, we'll be talking in just a few moments about the state of Delhi, which is going for elections. And here in Delhi, there will be this sort of big, expansive ravery rollout that many people are saying could endanger, in fact, the health of the Delhi economy. But we'll come to that in just a few moments. I just want to quickly press you on this, Dr. Saab, and this is a fundamental question. If we know the problems, why is the government dragging its feet? Most of the major states today are with the BJP.
I think, Rahul, when it comes to states, it is the case that none of the constituents, whether it's the fourth estate, the media, whether it is the industry bodies or the citizens, none of us even put any, pressure or, of expectations on state governments. As I'm mentioning earlier as well, when was the last time you actually read
what
an
about the
article
government? Some of these issues, the larger reforms program. I mean, look, many people say already that the Prime Minister, for example, is a great visionary, but is he actually a committed reformer? That is something that, he performs brilliantly within the ambit, but is he a reformer? And that's the question that will constantly be asked of him.
No, in the 3 years that I had the privilege of working with him, there were many reforms that were done, and I think the Honorable Prime Minister is somebody who's committed to reforms.
Right.
But at the same time, in a democratic polity, you have to acknowledge that that states basically need to be doing the reforms, and I think it is now for all of us to actually put that focus. When the next time the Maharashtra budget is presented or the Gujarat budget, all of us need to start asking the questions. And I'll tell you, this is an important nuance that must be remembered, Rahul, that compared to actually the union government, state governments, if you think about it, actually, do not face as much pressure, and actually they can do reform because there isn't as much media spotlight, they
Right.
can do reforms. I think the political will to do reforms at the state level must be mustered. I think that is really critical because even if you think about aspects of climate change, ease of living, etc., states, I think, really have to start
Okay,
delivering
well,
across the line.
Okay, well, viewers, we've heard the exposition of the problem, and we're also now being guided into thinking a little harder about how to take it on. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Have a very, very happy New Year. Hope to see you on the other side. On a more positive note, let's hope that India can ramp up its GDP, just like the Sydney test, where hopefully we'll be able to ramp up our performance. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And viewers, as I was about to tell you, if you're talking about states and the way they are sort of going about looking at the economy, governance, etc., then here is a story, viewers, that should interest you. Former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal made a major announcement today, promising a monthly salary of 18,000 per month, as I said, for the priests of temples and granthis of gurudwaras if the AAP comes back to power in the upcoming election. Just a few days ago, viewers, and I'll bring it up on your screens, another promise was made to pay out 2,100 rupees per month to every woman in the state of Delhi, depending on a particular income criteria. Now that was a big one, viewers, which is going to cost the exchequer quite a bit of money. And the reason for this bursary really to granthis and priests is because Mr. Kejriwal says priests and granthis have been the custodians of our religious customs, serving society selflessly. Unfortunately, no one has ever taken care of their financial well-being. That's what he said. And of course, viewers, all of this comes on the back of a big auto rickshaws, drivers, welfare package, insurance, financial aid, wedding support from uniform allowance and free coaching for drivers, the Sanjeevani Yojana, which will make free treatment for all citizens, irrespective of their economic background, above 60 years at Delhi hospitals, completely free. Free power, 3,250 crore earmarked for subsidy of up to 200 units. You know that in Delhi, SOPs are being given out like there's no tomorrow. Kejriwal stated that registration for the scheme will begin tomorrow, which is the latest one that he's announced, and he will personally initiate the process at the Hanuman temple. I request the BJP not to create hurdles in the registration process. Blocking this will be akin to committing a sin, as they are our bridge to God. But no sooner had he made the announcement that a group of imams began to complain loudly. Imams have come out and said, we haven't been paid our salaries for 17 months. Forget about you making new promises. Delhi government is responsible for paying imams monthly salary, and they are saying that we haven't been paid our monthly dues for 17 months. Around 250 imams troubled due to this delay. Kejriwal clearly doesn't think they are a bridge to God, obviously. No representation of imams due to the absence of Delhi Waqf CEOs, so they don't even have a voice, but they're now out protesting. The alleged non-payment of salaries is not surprising. Despite its recent history of fiscal surpluses, Delhi is on the brink of a potentially severe financial crisis. The financial summary of the government of the national capital of Delhi indicates a continuous streak of fiscal surplus from the fiscal year 2017-18 through the projected budget of 24-25. But Delhi's earnings are projected to drop from the budgetary estimate of 64,000 to about 62,000 by the end of FY25, that is by the end of next year, March. Initially, budget estimates show a surplus of rupees 3231.19 crores, 3,231 crores for the possible inclusion of additional demand could lead to a deficit of 1,495 crores, viewers. And there's a whole list of other expenses and that graphic will continue to update itself, refresh itself, viewers, and you can acquaint yourself with other expenditures that are on the cards. And fundamentally, viewers, the courts have stepped in and cautioned Kejriwal and the Delhi government, saying, you want a freebie culture, they are only spending it on freebies. Freebies will not make your infrastructure, they will not only ensure that you remain where you are. Today, the only thing the political class is doing is selling slogans, and we are all buying it. Delhi High Court said this in a fairly stiff rap on the knuckles. So let's open this up, viewers. What exactly is happening here? And I want to bring in the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party as well as Pradeep Bhandari. Pradeep Bhandari, look, first let me bring you in, there are surpluses, so what is there to be worrying about? And even if there are these sort of problems, Mr. Kejriwal has said that he's a magician and he will make the numbers happen. So why are you sweating it so much, Mr. Bhandari?
Rahul, it's about the intent. Mr. Kejriwal can promise moon, but let me tell you the reality. Point number one, Delhi for the first time in 31 years is in revenue deficit. Point number two, the reality is that Mr. Kejriwal till now for the last 3 years in Punjab has not deposited a single rupee of money in the account of the women that he promised. Point number two, the reality is that it's the Bharatiya Janata Party which has been always saying since the last 3 years that he needs to deposit the money and give salary to also the pujaris. But the issue is Mr. Kejriwal will not do. If Mr. Kejriwal's intent was proper, when he had promised the salaries of the Maulanas and the Maulvis which he has not deposited in the last 17 months, he would have announced it at that time. His priorities are clear. During the time of COVID, he built a 50 crore sheesh mahal through corruption money. At that time, the money was not a problem. Just near the election, knowing that he does not have to deposit from the exchequer, he is just doing an election gimmick. And my charge here is Mr. Kejriwal is very serious that on the 1st of January, he should deposit in the account of the pujaris the money. He knows he will not do it. This is where even in the case of the Mahila Samman Yojana, even in the case of Sanjeevani Yojana, he is using his party machinery. So my charge is not on what he has announced. My charge is on intent of Mr. Kejriwal that whatever he does, he never does. He never executes it on the ground.
Let me bring you in.
The only thing which he can execute properly is a corruption with 50 crore corruption.
Okay, big allegations. Big allegations. Let's just park them aside for 30 seconds, Mr. Marathe. Let's focus on the issue at hand. You've been in power for a little more than 10 years now in Delhi. Were granthis and priests not a bridge to God for 10 years? Why suddenly now? And why didn't you announce this scheme, as Mr. Bhandari says, when the imams, you rolled out a scheme for imams? Why was there this disparity? And why haven't the imams been paid for 17 months? Can we even afford these new schemes? Look at what the High Court has said. It's a timely warning and it's on your screen, sir. So explain to me, are we in a situation today, sir? And this is a question that one needs to ask. Is the Aam Aadmi Party cashing in on the Aam Aadmi's taxes? Is that what's happening here?
Namaste, Rahul ji. First of all, I want to start off by saying that Delhi's finances are a model that need to be understood by everybody who's watching this show. Arvind Kejriwal is an IIT educated engineer, former IRS officer. And when he says, I'm a magician, he's a magician of accounts and taxation. Because despite the last 10 years of the welfare model that Delhi has given, where we are giving free electricity, free water, free and high quality education and healthcare, how is it that Delhi's budget has not gone into a deficit? It's because Arvind Kejriwal understands budgets. He understands how revenues are to be collected and where the tax gaps have to be closed. So you have a Delhi government, which is the only government in India that does not have a deficit. It is a government that has the lowest amount of debt to GDP ratio. We have 3.4% in Delhi. In Gujarat, it is 20%. In Madhya Pradesh, it is 35%. So the states that the BJP runs are run to the ground because of their mismanagement and corruption. And the states that the Aam Aadmi Party is running, especially Delhi, is doing phenomenally well. Our state GDP is the highest growth rate.
The little bit of the state that you run, Mr. Marathe. You don't run the whole state. You run a little bit of the state, isn't it?
This is the reality.
But Mr. Marathe, it's a good point. Let me bring you back on this. Since you're making this point, let me ask you then, why haven't the imams been paid? In the past,
seconds.
1 second, in the past, sweepers weren't paid. Before that, there was a time when there was a logjam over salaries to councillors. You know that it's been an ongoing issue. And why is the High Court flagging? Why is the High Court flagging what it claims is a precarious precarious monetary situation, sir, fiscal situation.
No, I think Rahul, I don't think the High Court was talking about Delhi situation. They were commenting on the whole country. And yes, other states do have a problem, but Delhi does not have this problem. But let me finish.
Okay, let him
me
finish.
my
Let him
point.
finish, Mr.
Can I
Bhandari.
finish my
Just let
point?
him 10 seconds. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Unfortunately, Delhi has some portions of the government that are run by the BJP. For example, Delhi's law and order is run by the BJP.
No, I know, but you're
You
not
ask
talking about all of
anybody-
that. Let's get to the
you ask
finances.
anybody, but I want to just point out how Delhi has a dual control, and the things that are run by the BJP are actually the ones that are a problem. If you think about the
But initial budget estimates, now these are not things that are made by Mr. Modi sitting in his little chamber. The initial budget does show a surplus of rupees 3,231, but the possible inclusion of additional demand could lead to a deficit of 1,400. That would be the first time in decades that Delhi would slip. You'd agree. These are not my numbers. These are the budget expectations. Anyhow, let me just bring in Mr. Bhandari. He wants to make a point.
These are estimates. These
Yeah,
are estimates, and the financial year,
But they must.
has not.
Yes, I understand that. That's I know, but these are red flags that are being raised. So we have to be judicious. That's the underlying point. Yes, Mr. Bhandari, quickly. Yeah.
November 28, 2024, the Delhi High Court to Delhi government. You have no money. Why are you refusing PMJY aid? The quote by Delhi High Court on Delhi government is you have no money. For the first time in 31 years, the Delhi government is expected to go in revenue deficit. It is not normal fiscal deficit, it is revenue deficit, which means that in order to pay for a day-to-day spending, they will not have money. This has not happened in a state like Delhi, which generally has a higher base of tax collection and tax revenues. For the first time in 31 years, the Delhi government will be going in revenue deficit.
Well,
that is the reality. Let me quote Delhi High Court further. Delhi High Court on 26 November 2024 goes further and says that you are only and only spending on freebies. You have no money for infrastructure. Your finances are precarious.
You want a freebie
what
culture.
Are you doing?
They went on
Where
to say
is
you
the
want a
money
freebie
for cities
culture.
Development?
Viewers, look, whether it is Delhi, and I don't want to pass any value judgments, this is a sensitive time for the AAP and the BJP. They're in the midst of an election campaign. So, by my taking a position, it would influence voters' minds. So, I'm just trying to come back to the larger question that we were raising with Rajiv Kumar ji and Dr. Subramaniam just before this, saying that, look, we need to be very careful about what we are promising to whom and why. And is it going to actually lead? One second, Mr. I'm just wrapping out. We've heard both sides. So I don't want to get into a tutu meme. You'd appreciate it's just the end of the year and we want to start off the new year on a very nice note. So I do beg your indulgence.
Wishing you a very happy new
Thank
year,
you.
Rahul,
Thank
and
you
your
all.
viewers.
Thank you all. Very quickly, viewers, just very quickly, I just want to say that one needs to, in fact, if anything, funnel productive expenditure, not expenditure on things that give people something in their pocket money. I leave it at this, viewers. Think about it.
A major controversy has erupted at the closing stages of the Melbourne Test, with the wicket of Yashasvi Jaiswal being the biggest talking point. It was a controversial decision for many of the Indian fans, but a decision that Australia would have welcomed, because that opened the floodgates for Australia. With India succumbing to yet another loss, they head into the Sydney Test now with a deficit of 1-2, with Australia leading 2-1 and very much in contention to retain the BGT for the first time in 8 years. But let's talk about the controversial decision first. What it was actually that happened in the 71st over, when Pat Cummins, coming over the wicket, bowled a bouncer to Yashasvi Jaiswal, and Jaiswal tried to hook the delivery, only managing to get a very faint edge off his glove, taken by wicketkeeper Alex Carey. Australians went up with an appeal, but on-field umpire Joel Wilson turned down the decision, which was again referred to the TV umpire, and TV umpire Sharafuddollah Saikat reviewed the replays, and on the basis of the primary evidence that he had on the deflection on that delivery, Yashasvi Jaiswal was given out, overturning the decision of Joel Wilson, which pretty much divided the opinions. Indian fans at MCG really calling the entire proceeding and showing their frustration, venting out, with chants of cheaters. But if you look at the decision, how it panned out, as you can see on the screen very much clearly, the replay show there was a very clear deflection there as the ball passed Yashasvi Jaiswal a glove, and noted umpire Simon Toffel also said that the TV umpire's decision here was right, because there is a hierarchy of redundancy which the TV umpires use. The first primary evidence was this deflection itself, which was what Saikat, the third umpire, went in with. The sneakometer did definitely come in, but that was only to confirm or just to support the fact that whether the deflection also was picked up, the audio of the deflection was picked up on the sneakometer, which unfortunately was not the case. And here is where the veracity of the technology also comes into play. But when the sneako did not show any spike, which has led to the controversy, when it was flashed on the big screen, everybody saw it. Even Yashasvi Jaiswal was aghast with the fact that there was no sneakometer, there was no reading on sneakometer, yet he was given out. But the decision to give Jaiswal out was based on the primary evidence, which was the deflection here, and there was no other need for Saikat, the third umpire, to go to his secondary form of evidence, which was the sneakometer. He stuck to his first